This is a CNIB Lake Joe at Home program. CNIB Lake Joe at Home logo, image description, an illustration of a marshmallow roasting in a campfire with a roof in the background.
So welcome everyone to our Monday Curiosity Corner session. This is Smart Home by Smart Life with Mai Hai, who is, let me get this right, the head coach of the Smart Life program. She's calling us today from British Columbia, if I've got my facts right, across the country. So Mai, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. So nice to meet all of you. My name is Mai, and I am the Smart Life head coach for CNIB. So really, thank you so much for giving me this platform to speak with all of you today. So part of my role is not only to really manage our Smart Life coaches across Canada, but really have them provide, that customer service for our clients and our participants, but also get them to really engage to speak about exciting and new initiatives that come from our Smart Life centers, and really having them share that knowledge with our community. So just to give you a little bit of a background, a lot of you are probably thinking, what is Smart Life? So with 16 storefront locations and 8 hubs across Canada, we really are Canada's largest retail store, which not only houses our everyday low vision aids, where I'm sure most of you may have purchased before. But we really want to strive to be that go-to spot for educational and supportive needs when it comes to assistive technology and new accessible products. So for those who are unfamiliar with Smart Life, we thought it was really important that as our organization moved past our 100th birthday, which was a big milestone, it gave that we actually gave our shop CNIB a renewed focus, along with a fresh new look with inspirational branding that really aligned with our strategic initiative of live, play, work, learn, and tech. And then from that, CNIB Smart Life was actually created. We really wanted to focus on the user and customer service experience for our community when it came to that retail environment, and through serving our low vision and blind community, we realized that there really was a gap in the demand and understanding of technology advances within the assistive technology space. So really our aha moment, which is kind of represented with by our light bulb in our CNIB Smart Life branding, was how do we really bring technology to our clients and really enable them to experience all of that new technology firsthand and really become their go-to source, with the latest and greatest when it comes to technology. So that's where our Smart Life centers were actually built from. So they currently hold a holistic feel, which hopefully, as the restrictions get lifted from each province, you're going to be able to go in and have a feel of it. So it still will host our everyday low vision necessities, but it will also encompass more of high-tech devices through our vast partnerships with our vendors, and also carry assistive technology products for our community. Now, with that being said, one of our main initiatives for this year is really the Smart Home by Smart Life initiative. So a lot of you might be thinking, well, what is a Smart Home by Smart Life? It's a new initiative within our Smart Life branding to help pioneer all the great benefits and advantages of having a smart home device integrated in one's home. It's really being able to showcase our community on how daily functions of a home can really be controlled through an accessible app, by using voice over or by an assistant device, voice activated assistant, and how these devices can really help improve the quality of life through accessible independence, either for yourself or your loved ones. So at the end of the day, really our task at Smart Life Centers is really to ask that question, how do we really bridge accessibility barriers, and how do we move forward with sharing that knowledge? Now, what is a smart home? A smart home is an accessible home where daily functions of an appliance or device can be remotely controlled. And specifically for our community, it's about bridging the accessibility barriers. To be able to now control devices or appliances from an app without having to resort to memorization of keys and buttons from traditional appliances. So now being able to really have full access to inaccessible control panels, like the old sort of stove and appliances. Now, if we take a look at, a smart home, just to give an example, it could be, external doors that give you notifications of when someone is at the door, or, for myself, to be able to remotely lock it. If I've forgotten, got to work and forgotten to lock my doors, I can easily lock it through an accessible app. It's about being able to, turn your TVs or speakers on, just through a voice assistant, or having those kitchen appliances or washer and dryer that can be started remotely. So, getting that oven started to get it to 350 degrees to bake your favorite dish, or making sure that you've turned on your washer to that delicate stage so that you don't shrink your doggy sweater or your loving pet's clothes. Also, it's we could take a look at security cameras on the roof just to ensure that you get notifications of any intruders while you sleep, or getting that thermostat to make it to the right temperature that you like it. So making sure it's not too hot like a sauna, which I love, but my husband hates when it comes to sleeping. So just making sure that you can actually control that as well, a thermostat. Now, a lot of the questions I get is, what are the advantages having a smart home? Well, really one aspect of it is really peace of mind. It's really being able to control your home functions remotely, which provides you that peace of mind and knowing that you now have the freedom to check at any time, your daily tasks that might have provided you to worry and have that anxiety in the past. So for myself, did I lock the doors, or are the burners on? I'm able to check that through the accessible apps. And also, we all know that, just by serving those who actually use smart devices like the smartphone, or let's just say a Google Assistant or a Google Home, 4 out of 5 actually consider them to have daily positive impacts in one's life. Also, another advantage of having a smart home is the accessible independence for those who live in the community that either choose to live by themselves or with loved ones. It's also being able to connect, with the COVID-19 pandemic. Isolation was such a big concern for many. So smart home products can really help connect those with family members that are in isolation, and friends that can, family and friends. And it can really alleviate the stress and anxiety of one being able to now monitor, a loved one's appliance, or really get security of the home overall. It also provides our Smart Life Centers, as well as our sister company, Vision Loss Rehab, to really work together to speak upon, how one can really continue to live independently longer within their accessible home. So if you take a look at Stats Canada, a quarter of Canadians that are actually aged 65 years or older are actually taking care of their spouses. And according to Stats Canada, 1/5 of Canadians will be aged 65 or older by 2025. Which means that there are going to be, greater demands for nursing and residential care if Canadian seniors are unable to manage at home. And we all know that with long-term care, it can be very expensive. So it can be between, depending on the care you need, it can range from about $35,000 to about $200,000 annually, just depending on the type of care that you need. So, if you're able to outfit your home with a smart home, you'd be able to have loved ones actually be able to also monitor, your well-being at home as well. And really being able to say, did mom leave the burners on? Did mom did mom actually leave the chair today to go to the washroom? You'll be able to actually check through all of that, with cameras around the home and having smart home devices. Now, we've actually reached out to a couple of influential members of our community to really get them to speak upon, the advantages of smart home technology. And, one of the testimonials that I'd love to read out is Jason Fairs, which he said, smart home technology has really opened up a whole new world in accessibility and independence. The ability to use my iPhone or voice assistant device to set up and check the status of home appliances is incredibly liberating. It provides a level of access that was either completely impossible or difficult to accomplish as a totally blind person. Now, that actually really touched me because, the word liberating really stood out to me because, just the ability to actually use your iPhone or voice assistant device to really set up and check the status of home appliances. The word liberating is what we're looking for, just to be able to do everything independently. Now, currently with our Smart Home by Smart Life initiative, we are currently in phase 1. So what is phase 1? So we're actually looking into how we can really incorporate awareness of smart home technologies in our Smart Life centers by having smart home packages, which are going to be created to speak to a lifestyle of a participant versus just a regular naming of a package. So the lifestyle naming of the packages have not yet been finalized, but the packages are really there to aid participants in really understanding the possibility and intended use for each smart device and how it relates and how it can really enhance one's daily life interactions. So for instance, it may be like Home Sweet Home or the independent living package, which, showing a loved one the possibilities of how one can monitor a family stove to see how long it's been left on, or how the Google Home voice assistant can be implemented to remind a loved one to not forget to take their medicine. As well as we are in partnerships with our sister company, Vision Loss Rehab, to look at aging in place services that allows vision loss rehab specialists to assess an individual's ability to remain at home independently, which their healthcare professionals will identify any current or future accessibility barriers. We are also looking at financing options because we understand that a lot of times, with, people are looking for that extra need to see what type of financing options are out there for these high ticketed sort of appliances as well as devices. Also, we've been speaking with Samsung and LG just to make sure that we are working hand in hand with them to see how it really benefits our community and how it can be approved with better integration to, smart devices such as our Apple products and Google products. We've also been establishing relationships with the Brick and Best Buy as well, and really taking a look at that tech support for smart home devices and really have them understand questions that will help relate to our sort of clientele and how we can actually provide them that white glove service. We all know with technology, sometimes it's great when it works, but when it doesn't work, we really want to have that support there for our clientele so that they are able to answer all the questions that one may have. Also, with phase 1, we're really looking with regards to having early adopters. So this is super important, having early adopters within BC and Ontario to really document their journey and gain valuable feedback in order to improve the program initiative. So a lot of you might be asking, well, what is an early adopter? Well, it's actually classified as first customers to adopt a new product or technology before the majority of the population does. So if you're one that likes to pioneer for like change within our community, really be able to provide that valuable input and ideas for future accessibility, within product manufacturing and direction of the Smart Home by Smart Life, we are looking for you. As well as, if you take pride in being a leader for our blind or partially sighted community, we really want to be able to document, express your journey and experience with this, with the Accessible Daily Living Smart products. For myself, I I find real joy and excitement in regards to just spreading the word out to our community. Because I love to share, and I'm always about resources and where, spreading that information to all my friends and my family. This is where we need your support in terms of early adopters. Now, with the early adopters, it does come with its perks. You do get a financial incentive, which means that, if you do want to start to outfit your home into a smart home by getting, some of the devices, you will get them at a reduced price point. Also, we will have early adopters recognition, which includes you in, marketing publications as well as a profile feature. Also, we're taking a look at, CNIB Connects program, which you will get, information about, CNIB's yearly Braille Technology Conference, as well as get entrance to Connecting the Dots, which is Canada's largest educational and professional development conference, which is really focused on education, technology, and employment for people who are blind or partially sighted. I'm not sure if any of you have been to Connecting the Dots conference before, but it was fantastic. We recently did one back in October, which it was our first virtual one. And it was amazing just to have, a bunch of topics that, our participants were able to actually go in and learn more about, which is as well as our vendors. So very, very great in that sort of sense. So I'll leave it at that. I know that there's probably a lot of questions that you guys may have. So I'm open to the forum in terms of questions.
Looks like Aaron has a question. Do you want to ask a question, Aaron?
Hi, Aaron.
Hello. May I please have your name again?
Yes, it's Mai. Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Good.
This smartphone technology thing is so interesting. Can even be useful in emergencies, for example, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So with working with our sister company, we're taking a look at that side as well in terms of emergencies, how one can actually link up to, say, a loved one through the smartphone if one has a fall or if one can't get out of bed. So absolutely, we're taking a look at that as well.
To learn more about CNIB Lake Joe at-home programs, visit cniblakejoe.ca.